Together, we're exploring the intersection of faith, biology, and the signals that shape how we heal.
You'll hear conversations about nervous system safety,
peptides, and cellular communication,
prayer, trust, and what it means to live aligned with design.
No hype,
no pressure,
just curiosity, relationship, and truth.
Welcome to Prayer and Peptides.
Today, we're getting real about something so many people are silently dealing with, being exhausted all the time.
Not just I need a nap kind of tired, but that deep, can't think straight, running on empty kind of tired. Have you been there? If you know, you know. That kind of tired doesn't just go away with a good night's sleep.
Yeah, because this isn't just physical fatigue, it's decision fatigue. It's emotional exhaustion. It's burnout from constantly pouring out and never quite filling back up.
And also, we live in a culture that glorifies the hustle. Busy schedules, full calendars, always being on, like doing the most, but somehow you're falling behind.
That is true. There's a big difference between being busy and being productive. And sometimes busyness can just leave you feeling depleted.
And for a lot of people, it's not just physical or mental, it's spiritual exhaustion too. Feeling disconnected, worn down, maybe even a little numb in your faith.
If we don't create space to restore, eventually our bodies will just force it. And that's where we see burnout, hormone imbalance, brain fog, and all the things that we talk about here.
So in this episode, we're unpacking the hidden cost of hustle culture and how it's affecting your energy, your health, and your purpose. So before we get into all of what we want to unpack this episode, this is a conversation that is going to require us to be honest. And I want you to actually practice what we preach for a second. Or I want to practice what we preach. Because the most searched questions in wellness space right now are, why am I always tired no matter how much I sleep? And the answer is almost never just sleep. It's the nervous system has been running on overdrive for so long that it has forgotten what it feels like to be off, to actually rest. So wherever you are, if it's safe to do so, get comfortable, drop those shoulders down. You can close your eyes or just soften your gaze. If you're driving, keep your eyes open, please. And we're going to take those slow, deep breaths because maybe this is the first deep breath that you have given yourself permission to take all week. So we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. So let's gently do that together. So I want you to do that again. And I want you to breathe in through your nose, really fill up those lungs, push that air down deep into those lungs, hold for 4 seconds, and then fully exhale through your mouth. So I'm going to have you do another one as I talk about how we're going to shift into our parasympathetic nervous system. We've done this before. You have felt that release. So we're going to wake up your nervous system by doing these deep breaths. So do one more deep breath for me. In for 4, hold for 4, and exhale all the way, forcing that air out. This is giving your body a signal that it is safe to come down. And our word for the episode is culture. So drop culture in the comments and it enters you into our monthly giveaway. And here's why this word matters. Culture quietly sets the standard for what we believe success looks like. And right now, the culture we're swimming in rewards output, availability, and constant motion. Rest has been rebranded as laziness. Boundaries have been rebranded as weakness. And a lot of us, especially women of faith who genuinely want to serve well, have internalized that standard without even questioning it. The problem is not ambition. The problem is when culture normalizes burnout and disconnection from us to who actually sustains us. That is exactly what we're unpacking today. So let's go.
Guys, I am so excited to talk about today's topic because I know that I struggle with this myself. A busy work schedule, a heavy travel schedule, making time for family and friends and going to church and volunteering and running my peptide business and social media and teaching online and yada, 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 all the things. Doing all these things does not leave much room for myself at all. And I'm sure that I am not the only one that struggles with this. And truly, I do feel like I am a pretty good example of this hustle culture because just last week, we were all supposed to podcast together. And I had so much stuff going on and I felt so overwhelmed and so exhausted that like I had to reach out to you guys and like say, hey, look, I've got a lot going on and I'm tired and I'm not feeling great. And we had to talk about it. And because both of you ladies are amazing and the absolute best, you guys extended so much grace to me and you were able to say, you know what? Let's just push it back and we'll figure it out. Go ahead and get you some rest. And let me tell you, ladies, like that is what I needed at that moment. And it made me feel so good. It made me feel amazing. It brought me so much joy. And I got like a little mini reset. So let me ask you guys this. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for letting me like reset and get a little rest. But because I know both of y'all are also very busy, would you say that you currently in your life feel like energized, tired, like I was, or depleted? I mean, and there are times where even lately I have been feeling very depleted.
So right now I'm in a season of being very aware of where I am on this spectrum. I just came off of a international trip where I got to unplug, which I love doing that at least once a year, because then I'm not in that grind of that social media, like all of that. And sometimes we just need a break. And I don't always have the discipline to do it when I am stateside, when I have internet access. So I have to leave the country to where I don't have internet access. And that just gives me a place to help me rest and recharge my batteries so I'm not depleted, because I don't always do that here on a day-to-day basis. Let me share a little bit about the spectrum. So tired is recoverable. You've expended all your energy today. You've done the workout. You've shuttled the kids everywhere. You've done the work, all things. You're just fallen to bed and you're just tired and ready for a good night's sleep. So that's what tired feels like on the spectrum. And what is actually happening when you wake up from a full night's sleep, you actually feel like you're rested and you're not starting from behind. So when your motivation has gone quiet, when the things that used to light you up feel like obligations, that's where we need to start to pay attention on the spectrum. So clinically, what's happening is in depletion is happening in your HPA axis. It's the communication system between your brain and your adrenal glands. And when you've been running on a nonstop cortisol demand that can no longer fully meet that, your adrenals have been producing stress hormones on request for so long that their output starts to decline. And that's when you start to feel that weird disconnect that you really can't put your finger on. Those symptoms start to look a lot like depression. They can look a lot like laziness, like just no motivation to do anything. And they can also look like spiritual disconnection. But it's what's physiology. Okay, big words. Physiology on a physiological level. Let's go that way. Your body is not broken. It's spent. Right now, I would say that I'm in a good place because I've been actively protecting my recovery. I take the nap, I take the rest, I do things. Because pushing past that doesn't serve me or anybody else I'm trying to serve in life. So let's look at this with practice and intention. And it doesn't happen by accident. So there's a difference between being tired and being depleted. Tired is recoverable. Depleted is when the rest doesn't restore anymore. And that is what is actually happening in your body. So take a internal reflection right now. And where are you on that spectrum?
Wow, I would say for me, I'm so glad that you're asking this question to not only us, but also the listeners, because I definitely have tried over the last year, especially when we've started with that one sleep peptide we've talked about, to focus on making sure I give myself the rest. But when you're talking about those cortisol levels and adrenals, I'm like, yep, that's me. I'm depleted. And I'm a mom of a son that has autism. I'm, a working mother in corporate world. And then also have the stress of having my oldest son away in college, right? I can say I get depleted. And I also find myself, when that happens, I am very disconnected with so many things in my life. Something I really need to look into and lean into. Lauren, when I'm talking about that, Where in your life do you feel pressure to always be on? Because I know you're somebody that has a very demanding life too.
Yeah, I think for me, being on is kind of tied to my calling a little bit. Like, I love being a hairstylist. I truly love doing hair. And to me, it's more than just doing hair. It's like, it's a ministry work sometimes. And I really want to be good at what I do, but I also want to be a great person while I do it. And so part of being a great hairstylist is, and part of someone's experience coming in the salon is the communication while I'm getting to do their hair. And so that looks like, someone feeling cared for, being served. And so when I work 40 plus hours, I'm literally on 40 plus hours. I'm not like in an office where I could just shut the door and, have some quiet time, put on some music. Like, I am peopling all day long. That's what my niece calls it, when you're social peopling. And for her, when she is like done being social, she says that she's peopled out. And I totally get that, because the type of job that I have requires me to be on. It requires me to like people. And that means like actively listening, helping in making hair decisions during consultations. Maybe it's serving water or a cup of coffee, or giving a relaxing shampoo, or at least trusting an assistant enough to give my client a relaxing shampoo. And that means like getting a footstool and extra towels around their neck and a good scalp massage. I mean, these are all the things that go on, and you don't really think about it. Making sure the temperature is just right, so you're not like freezing someone out or, burning somebody. That's pretty important. I mean, you have to be on for a lot of that. And making sure they have all the products that they need, just all kinds of little things. And sometimes it's like those little details that make a hairstylist stand out. Those little details make anybody stand out. It's the little things. And so something as simple as cleaning up color off of someone's like hairline before that color starts to process, so they don't have like dark color stains on their skin, just like the little things. And I think for anyone that wants to do their job well, they probably feel this kind of pressure too. I'm sure that like you guys, I know you guys, like you guys want to excel in everything that you do. You go above and beyond, both of y'all do. So do you guys feel like this? Like, what about you?
I feel the pressure a lot of, I like the peopling, that's cute, because I will say I have to be readily available for my work from multiple people, but then also to be the decision maker. So when somebody's calling me, they want me to make the decision, and I have to make the best decision in that moment, and they're waiting for my answer. And I will say, one thing when I reflected on wanting to be available to everyone, sometimes I forget about myself. But then by the time I get home, I'm not just tired, I'm depleted. Like, I'm done. Like, they got the best of me. And sometimes I feel guilty because I know my family is then probably receiving like this much of me when other people got best of Amy all day. They get tired, I'm depleted, don't talk to me version. But then I feel that guilt because I'm like, I don't want to let anybody down. I don't want to let the people at work down. I don't want to let my family down. And so really, this is an episode that is so good, because when Anna started, I believe you said it, where you're like, there's times where we like celebrate the hustle culture. And sometimes I have to like celebrate it because it's my life. Because if I didn't celebrate it, it would sound horrible. So that's kind of like where I'm at with this. Anna, where are you with this whole process?
So for me, this is something that I see in my daily work is high-powered, high-functioning women that just have they wrestle with the constant state of relational output that never really turns off. They have to be on and do all the things for everybody. And when you're a business leader, when you're a boss, when you're a mother, when you're a wife, when you're a friend, you're always reading the room. And I think that that is something that we love to be able to do, but it also can be really, really draining and taxing on our nervous system. And we're always reading other people's needs without reading our own, which is why it's really nice to be able to come into this room on a Tuesday night, because we see that energy shift and just ask, hey, how are you doing? How are you navigating things? Is everything going good? Like, how can we help? What can we take off of your plate this week? How do we shift things? So we think that if we take the advantage of reading the room the way that we can in our everyday lives, and we notice people's nervous system, if that's the code that we're reading. So not to distinguish between like social performance or anything like that, but really just tapping into people, but helping them register the activation that's happening in their body. And knowing that they can be seen is usually enough to release that pressure valve. So, and when we're in a role and we don't get noticed for things, we can be a little resentful. Like, I'm doing all the things. I'm doing this for everybody and nobody is saying thank you. Everybody's demanding things. Like, it's really easy to get into that with the hustle culture. And then you reach burnout so easily. So we want to protect our reserves in our nervous system. And we want to be able to do the emotional labor and the physical labor and not have it take us out every single day. So, and I feel that pressure to always be on my commitment to the people that I serve, because as a coach, I'm not a counselor or a therapist, but I kind of play that role because we're walking through how to navigate their nutritional lifestyle choices when life is very stressful, because they just want to eat the comfort food. They just want to have the fast food because it's easy. But in the long run, that doesn't support their resilience. So we have to have a big conversation there. So if you are a person that is always reading the room, always tracking everyone else's needs to be always available, your nervous system is paying a price that you can't see yet.
Okay, Anna, just call me out. And I will say that you are an amazing coach, and working with you over the years, trying to get me to just eat every couple hours, like don't forget to eat and make better choices. You have definitely, helped me in so many ways with that. I know that my purpose is to be a hairstylist, and I love being a hairstylist, but in that, I'm also able to minister to other people in their faith and in their health and even in their confidence. But there was a time where I just didn't want to be a hairstylist anymore, which is actually really sad to me because I really do love what I do. But it was because I felt that burnout, Anna, that you were just talking about. Like, I was there. I was literally burned out, just constantly in that area where you are reading the room. You're in with each one of your clients and you're listening, especially like during 2020 when that happened. And there was so much going on in the world, and we had to have masks on, and I had a hard time breathing, and I'm running around the salon, and people are stressed out and they're like unloading on you. And it was a political year that year. And so then people are explaining like how they felt about politics. And it was so much noise that I couldn't even think for myself. I couldn't even come up with how I felt because I just had all this in me all the time. And it made me not want to do my job anymore. I literally was I'm done. I'm quitting. I got to figure something else out. And it completely disconnected me from the calling that I truly believe is on my life. Have you guys ever felt disconnected from your purpose because you were just too tired to even think about it or even care? That's even a horrible thing to say. It got to the point where I just didn't care. I didn't want to hear any more opinions. I didn't want to hear anything else. I was burnt out. I was worn out. My body was tired. And just like you were saying, Amy, you come home and you don't even want to talk to your family. You're stop, leave me alone for just 5 minutes, And then Amy or Anna, you were just saying you get into this resentment where you're just I've done this, and then I come home and I got to do this, and you're just so tired. That's how I felt. So have you guys ever felt like that before? Or am I just the crazy one?
No, I definitely think that you are not alone in that feeling. And it can be one of the most spiritually disorienting experiences a person can have, because you feel mentally and emotionally like you're doing all the things, but physically you've just hit that wall and hit that burnout, and you're in biological crisis, right? And we try to outthink it or manifest good thoughts without actually addressing the problem. So when your cortisol is chronically depleted, when your neurotransmitters are running low, and when your sleep is fragmented and your nutrition is poor, your brain literally loses access to that felt sense of meaning. It is a biological thing that happens when you hit this burnout. It's an actual physical thing that happens. The neurochemistry that allows you to feel connected to something bigger than yourself, it's the dopamine, serotonin, and vagal tone that supports the social connection and spiritual openness. It all gets suppressed in that survival state. And we'll talk about this in our gut episode coming up, so you don't want to miss that. But a large amount of your serotonin is made in your gut. So if you are not eating well and not sleeping well, then that affects the serotonin that is built in your gut, right? So when a person says, I used to feel called to this and now I feel nothing, that's not always a sign that the calling has ended. Sometimes it's a sign that the body is just feeling depleted. So I've had moments in my own work, like Lauren, where I've just questioned everything. Like, really, is what I'm doing really meaningful and purposeful to other people, right? We go through these ebbs and flows, and the passion kind of went quiet. And I leaned into this answer, and not to push harder into my calling, but just to pause and see what I could restore in my own instrument first. So you cannot play a violin with broken strings and blame the music. The sheet music didn't do anything, but if you don't have the strings on your instrument, you're not taking care of the vessel. We talked about the vessel in our episode with Debbie Farthing. Like, that is an important part of the whole process. So if you've ever felt disconnected from your purpose, numb to things that used to light you up, I want you to hear this if you don't hear anything else. This might not be a spiritual problem. It might be a biology problem.
Anna, I can connect with this so much when what you were just talking about, and really thinking about my own self and some of the things that I've gone through over the past couple years. And when I find myself not passionate about things that should light me up, right? That's a hard place to be. I recall a friend of mine who I care about deeply telling me, Amy, you are not a robot. You are not a robot, meaning I'm not designed to be perfect all the time. I'm not designed to always say yes. I don't always have to be on. And I reflect on this person's words often, especially when I'm feeling depleted or things going on in my life. I have to remind myself, I'm not a robot.
I am not a robot. I'm going to start saying that to myself too. That is really good. Tell your friend, thank you for the advice. So if we all kind of feel this way, what is the answer? I mean, do we just say no to all these things? Do we prioritize better? Anna, you said something about taking a rest. I mean, that sounds like a great idea, but there are times where we do have to push through. So do we push through anyways? Do we continue to stay busy, but take something to calm ourselves? What are we doing here? What is the answer?
I think there's multiple things. I will tell you, when I get to that point, I actually have talked to my boss about this. I will plan a day away from the office, but I'm still working, but I'm not in the office or at my house or whatever. A lot of times I will plan meetings up in Columbus, or I will make sure I'm with people that light me up or get me new ideas to fire me up. Another thing that I'll do is not work related, but sometimes I'll go spend the day with a friend, driving, going to lunch, talking and resetting, and making sure I am taking those steps that I need. I have found that if I allow myself to step away, Anna, slowing down sometimes speeds me up. I become more clear. I will come back to my house at the end of the day in a better mood. And I feel like my bucket's been poured into. And that is huge. Practicing that pause, practicing that reset, and really allowing the right people to recognize that you need them at that moment, and they give what you need. And don't try to tell you what you need, if that makes sense.
So Amy gave you lots of great examples of how she navigates a kind of a reset day. And to her point, I don't think that there is one specific answer that is a solution to addressing this. I think that it's multiple things done in a sequence, and the sequence matters. So the first step is always awareness. You can't address what you haven't named, right? And the first question is always, where am I actually right now? Not where I wish I was. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Not where you were 6 months ago. Where are you today? How does the person who I want to be make the decisions today? Who is that person? Right? So you can frame it that way. You can also ask, do I need an intervention? Do I need a self-imposed intervention? What is taking time that is not really serving me? What is eating up my energy, my focus? Do I need to do something a little bit different? And then you can also ask a friend, hey, where do you see me spending my time? Or ask your spouse. Be very careful with this one. What do you see? Where do you find me wasting my time where I could be doing other things or resting, right? If it really comes down to that rest and reset, instead of doom scrolling for 2 hours, like put the phone down, take a nap, or put on a podcast if you want to learn something, but put it on the other side of the room, listen to it, fall asleep, do what needs to be done, right? So be very careful asking your spouse, but the people around you are going to know how you're spending your time. So one of the things that we use on a daily basis, I actually took mine before we started recording because it really helps me focus. It is our Calm product, right? It just helps me kind of zone in, and it removes the noise for me. So lots of other people take it. Lauren's got a friend and Amy has a friend that if they take it, they cannot take it at work because they'll go to sleep. It relaxes them so much. So she uses it before she goes to bed. Other moms are using this when their middle schooler gets home from school. They take a half a packet and pour it in some water, and that's what they drink to help their little one calm their nervous system and come back off that edge. Middle school is hard. I remember how hard it was back in the 80s and 90s. I don't want to do it now. It just seems so much pressure. But Calm works with the signals in your body, right? Remember, we don't want to hijack anything or override anything, but we want to support the system to quiet the cortisol activation, support GABA, which is your brain's natural braking system of just to kind of help slow down. If you've ever had those racing thoughts before bed and you really can't go to sleep, this is a product that can help do that. Just slow it down and give your brain space, right? So we want to create the physiological conditions for rest without forcing it. It's not a fix for burnout. Nothing is, but not being burnout, right? So, but you can use the tools in the moment to get your body out of fight or flight. And even deeper answer is what Lauren said, stepping back, protecting your space, letting yourself be filled rather than just be poured out of, right? So from that restored place, making new decisions about what actually belongs in your life feels more informed and more intentional, and it helps filter out the noise, and then you can figure out what is actually important. So everyone tells you to rest when you're burnout, but rest doesn't work if your nervous system doesn't know how to come down. So this is why the sequence actually matters.
Amy, I feel so much better. It's just like you just had to take that poison and just get it out there, and then you all of a sudden have great energy again. It's like you just needed someone to affirm how you were feeling in that moment and just say, you know what, I get it. You're going through a lot right now. And having a lunch with them or doing something fun or doing something creative, that is really helpful. It does help. I know feeling a bit burned out, I do feel better when I step back. I do remember when I felt that burnout that I was talking about earlier, and I cut my schedule in half. I was like, I just need some time away from work, and I just cut my schedule. And it was kind of scary because, obviously I cut half of my income, but I needed it and it was totally okay. It was fine. And during that time, I went for walks outside. I love being outside. I love an outside walk in that sun and get that heat. I did a puzzle. I caught up on TV shows. I love binging some Netflix. That is so much fun to me. I read some good books. I just enjoyed life. And whatever I felt like I was missing, that's those are the things that I did. And that friendship time, the family time, the creative time. I was just so caught up in like everyday life and going to work and doing the thing and staying in routine and serving others that really and truly I forgot to like serve myself. And so when I stepped back, everything changed for me.
Hey guys, real quick. If you want to join our community of believers optimizing their health, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to follow us on TikTok, where you will find more information on these peptides, videos of us, and special giveaways from our sponsors. Hustle culture just flat out steals our energy. And when I feel like I'm burnout, I don't have energy at all. Burnout is lack of energy and passion, and they can kind of go together. If you have passion for something you get excited about, you can work on it for free or during all your free time. And it doesn't matter. You're energized, you're ready. But when you lose that energy, that passion truly goes with it. So if you are spending our energy on the wrong things, then we can easily become exhausted. When I'm focusing on things that are not getting me excited, I feel burnout. I feel depleted. So what I really want you to think about is if we are exhausted from doing the things that do not matter, obviously, we aren't going to do the things that do matter. Things like take care of our health. This is one of the biggest topics I hear from moms. Moms are tired, and many times we put ourselves on the back burners and we forget to really pour in. We forget to do things like taking care of ourselves and taking the supplements that we need and making the right choices. So with that, what advice can we give them or to anyone that wants to do better, taking care of their health despite all the hustle?
Yeah, I actually hear that a lot too from the moms that come into the salon. And I think this is a great question because we all want that magic pill or the shortcut. We're all seeking it. But the truth is I think all just need to slow down a little bit. We need to prioritize and we need to say no to something so that we can say yes to something else like our health. For everything that we say yes to, we are saying no to something else. So sometimes we need to say no to something so we could say yes to something like our health. And when I first started my health journey, keep in mind, like I have not arrived in my health journey. It is still like a journey. I'm still in destination to like really good health. But when I first began, I started with this very simple thing, and it was eat one salad a day. And it could be like a fruit salad. It could be like a lettuce salad. I could have it for lunch or I could have it for dinner, but I just had to have one salad. That was it. And it was simple and it was easy and it was enough to get me motivated. It was enough to like jumpstart my whole health journey. And so it helped me because I was able to get more fruits in. It helped me get more vegetables in. That helped me, start eating more fiber. I was able to get more protein in because like obviously eating the same salad every day gets kind of boring. So I threw in some steak or I threw in some chicken or I would do grilled shrimp. That's like one of my favorites. I threw in all kinds of seeds. It would be like sunflower seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds. Those are my favorites. Sometimes I added raisins or dry fruit or blueberries and strawberries. Sometimes it was just weird things like jalapenos and banana peppers. And I would have a spicy one. I would throw salsa in there as a dressing. I mean, I did some weird things to get these salads down. I had taco salad, broccoli salad. I mean, I got creative and it honestly helps me get a lot healthier. And it was just that one simple thing. Like I didn't do all the things. I just did one simple thing. And so also for me, I get my blood work done a lot. And I do think that is something that can help. Kind of crazy. I get them done 4 times a year. And let me tell you, a lot of things can change in those 3 months, like a lot. Your vitamin D can dip so fast. It's actually kind of shocking. And I'm not saying that you need to go get this done 4 times a year, but I do think at least once a year would be very helpful because you have to know where you are. You have to know like where you're starting so that you can get to where you want to go. And you can't get there unless you know where you're at. And so when your vitamins and your supplements are down, like just something like vitamin D, like things just start going downhill from there. Like if your vitamin D is low, it affects things like your mood. It could create some brain fog. It can increase inflammation. It can cause anxiety. joint discomforts, all kinds of things. It starts to affect your thyroid, your hormones. You become more insulin sensitive. You can hold on to weight. I mean, it can even affect your blood pressure. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that like these things will happen. I'm just saying it can. And it's really important to make sure that your lab works are coming back good. And if they aren't, you're able to address them quickly. I mean, don't let your triglycerides get out of control. I mean, that's something that you can go get your blood work done and take care of. It's, dangerous if it gets too high. Make sure your A1C is below pre-diabetic levels. Make sure your B12 is good. I mean, B12 is energy. And definitely make sure your vitamin D is good. Make sure your zinc and copper ratios are healthy. All of this stuff matters. It's kind of crazy, but it all matters.
So as of recording today, I actually went and got blood work done today. So I do mine every 6 months. I meet with one of my specialist doctors and she orders blood work every 6 months. So I used to do it every month or every couple of months, and now we're at a 6-month thing. And I absolutely love that you said get your blood work done, because it's important to catch something if you need to catch something, but it's also available to prevent things, right? So your reference range on your lab work is from sick people. It's not healthy people. Healthy people are not in the reference range because healthy people aren't going to getting their blood work done. So having multiple iterations of your blood work really gives especially functional and integrative doctors an insight into where you have been trending and this is a little off for you. Or, when we look at cholesterol, so a typical doctor cholesterol at 200, it might be too high for the doctor, but that's perfect for you because it's down or up from where you were last time. And they're not looking at your previous numbers. They're looking at where you are right now. So lots of information goes into that. And I love that you started with taking one meal a day to improve your health. And that was with salads. And you had no limit on what you put in your salad, but that was just what you stuck with and all the things. And that's fantastic. I was also, as you were listing off your salads, I was also waiting for you to list off the candy salad. Have you seen those? Where people are like, we're making a salad and I'm bringing the nerds and don't make a candy salad, but make a fruit candy salad for sure. But I love that that's how you started with one thing instead of overhauling everything. So remember, it takes 9 months to grow a baby, 10 months, 40 weeks. So doing something for conception does not result in a baby the next day. So give yourself time. And you also have to raise that baby for 18 years plus, right? So when Amy's oldest son, who's now a freshman, when he turned 18, she wasn't done with him. This mama is going to be in this boy's life the rest of his life, right? She's not stopping at 18, right? So we need to think about our nutrition the same way. We need to make choices and healthy choices and things that today is building our body 10 years from now. And if you think about that, it makes you a little more aware of what you're buying at the grocery store and what you're eating when you go out and all of the choices that you're making because you're retraining your body to build muscle and heal your metabolism. And that is going to take time. And there are no shortcuts. There are implements and tools that can help you and accelerate that, but there really are no shortcuts to this long game. So I want you to take the day and I want you to start intentionally in the morning. We talked about first light. We talked about tapping into your spiritual life before you open your phone, right? This is where we need to start the day and ask God to kind of lay it all out for us. Lead us where we need to go. Help us make the choices. Show us where we can serve the kingdom. And that starts in your nervous system hygiene. And that helps you make better food choices. Starting the day with protein, right? And these little habits aren't going to cost you anything but intention.
Yeah, and I love that you said that. I do think that the last piece of advice that we could probably give here is to invite God into our health and to just pray about it and ask God what our next step should be. Ask Him for advice. Ask Him to bring the right people into our life that can encourage us, that can re-energize us and help us in this area. Very much like what you said earlier, Amy. Pray about asking Him to bring the right resources even and the right tools. And, at the end of the day, we all have a different journey. But I would bet that we are all wanting to arrive pretty much at that same health destination. We all want to be healthy, right? We want to lose the excess fat. We want our blood work to come back normal. And you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the truth. That does require work on our part. And then, after we do our part, then we do have to give the rest up to God.
Sometimes the most spiritual thing we can do is rest. Rest in God's grace. Give it all to Him. Trust Him. Know He has a plan and that it'll all be sorted out. We can't pour from an empty cup. We have all heard this saying, if you're feeling empty, if you don't feel like you have anything else to give, it might be time to fill up your own cup. Fill it back up. Remember, there is a hidden cost of a hustle culture. It'll affect your passion, your energy, and even your health if you are not careful.
All right. If you made it this far in the episode, first, take a breath with us, because there's one thing we're hoping that you walk away with today, and that is this. Being tired all the time isn't just about sleep. It's deeper than that.
Yeah. And it's not because you're doing life wrong. It's because you've probably been carrying more than you even realized, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And we live in a world that rewards being busy, not being well. So a lot of us have learned to just keep going, even when we're completely drained.
And let's be honest, quick fixes are everywhere. It's going so easy to reach out for something that promises like energy and clarity or results overnight. It's so easy. Quick fixes are everywhere.
But the real restoration, the real growth, that takes time. There's no shortcut. It takes awareness and it takes responsibility. Not in a pressure-filled way, but in an empowered way. Like, I get to choose differently now.
Not in a pressure-filled way, but in an empowered way. Like, hey, maybe I don't need to keep living at this pace.
Exactly. Because being busy isn't the same as being productive. And being productive doesn't mean that you're actually fulfilled.
So maybe the question to sit with after this episode is, where am I running on empty, and what signal am I sending to my body staying there?
And what would it look like to start filling your cup in a way that actually lasts? Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually too.
Because you deserve to feel well, not just to get through the day, not just to survive the season, actually well, body, soul, and spirit.
We're so glad you were here with us for this conversation. If this resonated with you, share it with someone you might need to hear.
And don't forget, you don't have to overhaul your whole life overnight. Small shifts, repeated consistently, change everything, one signal at a time.
Growth is still growth. We love you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode of Prayer and Peptides. Until then, stay prayerful,
stay focused,
and stay purposeful, one signal at a time. If something in today's conversation stirred you, send it to the person who came to mind. That's how this message moves, person to person, and we can't do it without you. If you want to stay connected, go ahead and subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. All the resources and goodies are linked in the show notes, and we'd love to continue the conversation with you over on Instagram. Until next time, stay prayerful, stay curious, and keep listening to the signals. The content shared on Prayer and Peptides podcast is for educational, informational, and inspirational purposes only. This podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, nor is it a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Discussions around peptides, nervous system regulation, stress, sleep, hydration, and wellness presented as general educational concepts and reflections on the body's design, not as medical recommendations. Always seek the advice of your physician, a licensed healthcare provider, or qualified medical professional regarding any medical condition, symptoms, medication, supplements, or health discussions. Never disregard or delay seeking professional medical advice because of something you heard on this podcast. The host and guests of Prayer and Peptides are not acting as medical providers. Any personal experiences or stories shared are anecdotal and not intended to imply guaranteed outcomes. Spiritual reflections, prayer, and scripture-informed insight are offered as relational and supportive practices, not as replacements for medical or mental health care. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that you are responsible for your own health decisions and that Prayer and Peptides assume no liability for actions taken based on the information presented.